Very interesting session today in the index, in ES, in SPY. We came into the session, if you remember from yesterday's end of day recap, the main watch for today was going to be yesterday's low. So we came into today's session wanting to see how price was going to react versus the prior day low. You can see that open initially below the prior day low. Price repeatedly fails to get above that prior day low. We do have fresh lows being made into 10 a.m. 10 a.m. reversal time. You get the pop there, fresh session highs. Most likely, like I was mentioning, intraday in the traders think tank, most likely this action was to grab the liquidity that was sitting up here above session highs. Price, look at that. Price rejects, VWAP rejects that prior day low area, and we're back into session lows here. Now, the challenge with the current setup today is that 47.50 is the intermediate term support zone. So when we actually go and look at the 30-minute or the 60-minute chart, what you're going to see here is repeated buying at this 47.50 area. So that was the challenge with today's short. I actually had a couple of shorts today. First short I've put on in over 5 weeks, simply because if you take a look at this chart zooming out past 9 weeks has just been pure vertical. So it has absolutely been a bull's tape. We're starting to potentially see a little bit of a change in character in NQ, not quite yet in ES. If we take a look at the daily chart here, as I mentioned yesterday, the end of day recap, as well as this morning in the pre-market prep live stream, this is going to be a challenging area to trade simply because this was the prior 52-week high. We do have pretty clear daily support right through here, that 47.50 area. Price was bought the last time that we tested that level and made fresh highs, right? It wasn't a significant high, but price definitely made a fresh high right through there. Now we're back right into that 47.50 level with the confluence of the raising 21 MA. Now, I had mentioned yesterday that, again, in the end of day recap, that if you are a buyer, if you're bullish and you're wanting to get a piece of this move, let's just say hypothetically speaking, you want to get long, you miss the entry over here, maybe you missed this particular entry. Well, where's the next kind of early logical spot to be, grabbing some long exposure? And I had said that is the 21 MA. It's not unusual to see buying versus the 21 MA simply because that is considered a mean reversion trade. And so once again, this 47.50 area is definitely going to be a tough location, especially if we blip below. You do have the prior 52-week high right through there, that blue zone. There's going to be a significant area. I expect some buying activity through this area. So you definitely, if we do end up breaking below that 47.50, you want to be real careful, real cautious, and staying nimble with the action through there. Now, as far as what to look for tomorrow, I want to see again how price trades versus today's low. Very similar approach to what we did today. What's interesting about the setup here is that price has not really shown any type of follow through below 47.50. I don't see a break below 47.50 here. We do still have 20 minutes before the close, so it technically could still break. But as far as the action so far today, I really don't consider a few points below a significant level of interest to be a breakdown, right? This is more so a test of the level and we bounce, test of the level and we bounce, test of the level, right? Make fresh session highs. What bulls needed to see was some acceptance above this 47.65, and then you could most likely see a change of character, and price is going to be set up better for a long into tomorrow. However, there is no sustained action above that 47.65, and so the setup does remain a bit difficult. And again, the reason it is a little challenging here is simply because we're dealing with a daily and weekly chart that again shows essentially 8-9 consecutive weeks higher, and then we have an intermediate. If we take a look at the 30 or 60 minute chart, I'm considering this 2 to 3 week action to be the intermediate setup here. It's just a range, right? But the near term, the past 2 to 3 sessions, this is definitely a downtrend. You have a high right here, a lower high right here, a lower high right here. We chatted this morning about the potential for this overnight action, this pre-market action to be a lower high. It indeed was a lower high. What is this? What is this? Right? That's the question. So we have a question mark on this potential lower high from today's session. Now, of course, for that to be confirmed, we need a flush below 47.50. That could happen in the overnight session. It could happen tomorrow, but again, this is a big area of support on the higher time frame charts. So all of that just to say, when the multiple time frame analysis, when there is not alignment in the multiple time frame analysis, is when you really want to be more cautious. You want to be staying nimble. You want to be careful with how price is developing. Again, it is characteristic of a lot more whipsaw, a lot more traps and fake outs. So nimbleness, definitely important as far as, keeping it simple and what to watch for tomorrow. 47.50, main level of interest on ES. Now, as far as SPY, pretty similar, of course, right? Should just be mirroring ES. It does paint a little bit of a clearer picture. You can see that daily support zone more easily right through here. I had mentioned this morning, this S3 zone, which we have at 468, is going to be definitely a very significant level for ES, because when we take a look at this, like zooming out, if that 468 fails, right, you have a big volume void below here. And so as we know about volume voids, price tends to fill those areas quickly. So need to be keeping a very close eye on how price develops versus this 468 zone. It's going to have, an important, the reaction here will be important for the weeks to come, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. Now, as far as NQ, take a look at the difference here in NQ. So NQ, chatted yesterday briefly about how price is actually breaking below that most recent lower high right through there, where I have this white line. Main watch very similarly on NQ today, similar to ES, was the break below the prior day low. We do see that break below, and there is a lot of volume that is actually transacting down here. If you can see that kind of blue line, all of the volume from the past 2 sessions is transacting right here at that 16,600 area. Now we're closing, or price looks to be closing right on session lows. Now in the pre-market prep this morning, I mentioned, if this 21 MA fails, if this prior day low fails, where's the next big area of structure on NQ? Well, pretty obviously it's right through here, right? There's going to be a significant level. And so there's still some space here. There is still some space here. So if NQ is still leading, which it may be, it is definitely looking a bit more bearish compared to ES currently, which may be giving us some clues for ES. Take a look at your weekly chart here, right? So just some things to keep in mind. We want to see how ES treats that near-term range low, and then just take it one day at a time. Now, as far as individual names, list, again, pretty dry. Not a lot that I'm going to be looking at for individual names. We do have J&J being carried over. There's an inside day. We have Moderna being carried over. There's another inside day. And then PDD, the China names were showing good relative strength today. This could be a potential breakout watch up above 151. Main watch for tomorrow, once again, going to be the ES 4750 level of interest. This is currently intermediate term support based on daily structure, based on that 60-minute time frame range, as well as your 21 MA right through here. So hope everyone had a profitable session. I will see you guys tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep live stream. Have a great afternoon.